I guess I should start off by just trying to give some background. I, Gerry 46M, am married to my high school sweetheart, Angela 45F. We have been together for 32 years. We have known each other since kindergarten at Upson Elementary. We started dating when we were in the 8th grade and have never stopped. I really take pride in that. I mean it, we have never had a break. It's not our second time around. We have legitimately been either boyfriend, girlfriend, engaged or married every day since we were 14 years old. We got married right after college. We were both 23 then. I went into accounting and got a good job with an accounting firm. I started my own firm when we moved to Rochester a few years later. My wife has been teaching either 3rd or 4th grade for the last 22 years. During that time, we had 2 great kids. Our oldest daughter, Veronica 21F, we had right away after we got married. We then had our son, Tom 19M, 2 years later. We have lived a fairly normal American life, entering this empty nest stage of our lives. Tom is a sophomore in college now, and Veronica is a senior. They are both going to the University of Buffalo, which is nice because they are only an hour away. We are financially very well off. In fact, this hasn't been much of a stressor for us in over a decade. Got a nice chunk of savings built up. I should be able to retire in about 10 years, and so should she. We kind of have the typical tour the country in an RV plan when we get there. For 32 years now, we have supported each other. Sure, we have had a few bumps along the road, but nothing major, nothing serious. We both have maintained a decent fitness level. We are social, we are friends with several couples. Our bedroom life has diminished some with age, but it is by no means dead. That's basically it. That's our lives in a nutshell. That's why I can't make sense of what happened last night. Everything leading up to last night seemed normal. I have been recounting the last few weeks all day, and literally nothing sticks out. We both went to work yesterday. I got home about 5:45 p.m. When I got there, I noticed that my wife was in the shower. Not her usual routine, but I didn't think anything of it. I went downstairs to get a start on dinner. I had picked up a couple of sirloins, so I fired up the grill. I figured some au gratin potatoes and asparagus would pair well. I went on making the full meal. When I was getting close to done, I went back to let my wife know dinner was ready. As I entered our master bedroom, my wife was sitting at her vanity. The room smelled good, and I could tell she had put on her favorite perfume. I had heard the hairdryer earlier, but I figured that was just routine. She was sitting there looking amazing. Her highlighted brown hair glowed. She had these like curls that spiraled down towards the front of her face. I don't really know how to describe it, but she definitely put some effort into it. She was wearing nothing but this matching lacy bra and panty set. The bra really pushed up and showed her girls off. She was doing her makeup, and I said to her, "Hey babe, dinner is ready. Is there something I missed? Do we have plans?" She didn't turn, just kept doing her makeup and said, "No, just me, I'm going on a blind date tonight." I laughed, thinking she was just being ridiculous. I said, "Okay," in a silly tone, and continued, "Well, dinner's ready, so come on down when you're done." I went back to the kitchen where I prepared us 2 plates and set them out on the dining room table. Since Angela was so dolled up, I decided I would go ahead and light a candle and pour us 2 glasses of wine. I had just taken a few bites when she came in. She was wearing a stunning black dress. Hair, makeup were completely done to the max. She looked incredibly sexy. She looked at her plate, then back to me, then lifted her small clutch purse. "I told you I was going on a date. You didn't need to make me a plate." I looked at her and said, "Stop already with that nonsense." She replied, "It's not nonsense. I'm going on a date. I'll be home in a few hours. You don't have to wait up." Then she just turned and left. I was still sitting there with my plate in front of me, just kind of dumbstruck. Did she actually just leave to go on a date? After like 30 seconds, I got up and walked over to the door, and her car was pulling out of the driveway. As she was driving away, she spotted me and just gave a little wave. I went back into the house and grabbed my phone. We have had location sharing for several years now, so I followed her drive. She went to Red, which is one of our favorite places. She really did go on a date. I tried calling her 4 times and got no answer. Then I texted her. She finally responded when I said I was going to come down to the restaurant. She texted me, "Do not do that. I told you what I was doing. We can talk about this when I get home." I was totally mind blown. My lizard brain was saying go down there, but ultimately reason prevailed. I stewed in the house for a while, unsure of what to make of this. 2 hours ticked by, and I knew the place closed soon. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I just sat here waiting for her, so I went into the guest bedroom and laid down. It was about 75 minutes later that she walked in. I pretended to be asleep. I was really hurt by what she did. I can't believe she went on a date. My mind just kept having all these thoughts for what seemed like hours but wasn't. Who did she go on a date with? What did they do after? Then it just sort of hit me. I guess she is done with me. 32 years, and this is it. We didn't even have a proper conversation. There haven't been any real issues in the last few years that she has brought to my attention, so I don't think I necessarily did anything wrong. I read a lot, so I know this kind of thing happens. I like reading the personal stories people tell. Sometimes people just fall out of love. I guess that's what happened to my wife. She just fell out of love with me. Not necessarily anyone's fault, but still really hard for me to accept. The worst thing is that she just decided to just move on. I don't know why I didn't get the courtesy to talk this out, or why she didn't ask to separate first. Why did she just start dating? She should have just asked for a divorce first, then she could date all she wanted. I was tearing up a little when she came into the guest bedroom. "What are you doing in here?" I turned and just looked at her. I had managed to cut the tears off. She continued, "Come to bed." I paused for only a moment, then got up. I followed her into the bedroom. She asked me to unzip her, and I did. I was just silent the whole time, totally confused about how to act or what to do. Finally, I asked, "Where did you go?" She said, "Red, it was really good. I probably should have stuck to one drink. But I did have two." My heart sank. She was so flippant, so nonchalant about the whole thing. "Who did you meet?" She just answered, "His name is John Stanton. He is the cousin of my friend, Helen." She set us up. It was kind of awkward at first, being a blind date and all. We were meeting for the first time, so I didn't really know how to act. Plus, I have never been on an actual date before, so that was also weird. But Helen did good. He was very good looking and charming. I could not believe my ears. Who was this woman? "That place closes at 10. It's 11:30. Where did you go after dinner?" She was removing her makeup at her vanity but kept answering, "Oh, nowhere. We just sat in his car and talked." There was physical pain in me. I had never known before, yet I persisted. "Is that all you did in his car?" She had finished cleaning up and was now getting undressed. She progressed from her evening wear to completely naked to an old t-shirt and pajama pants as she said, "No, I mean mostly just talked. I was tipsy right after dinner, so I was trying to sober up more so I could drive. We talked for 40 minutes. He eventually kissed me and we made out a little. I was feeling more sober after a few minutes and called it a night. We are going to go out again next Friday, so don't make any plans for the both of us." At that point, she laid down in the bed. I was just sitting at the foot of the bed, completely shell-shocked. As I stared at the carpet, numb to the betrayal I was feeling, she said after a few seconds, "Are you going to lay down? It's pretty late." I was like a zombie. I dropped down to my usual boxer shorts, only sleep attire, and climbed in next to her. I don't know how long I just stared at the ceiling. I just kept staring even as she scooted back to me, pressing her back and butt against me in the familiar way we always sleep. My thoughts on how my wife was leaving me, how she was searching for a new man to replace me, and was just going to keep our marriage going until she found one. It was a cruel twist of fate. Still, I felt like she at least owed me some answers. I would get those the next day before I started packing my things. I got up this morning, and my wife was still in bed. It wasn't long by time I got out of the bathroom, which was only a few minutes she was up. She made the bed real quick, then took my place in the master bath while I headed downstairs. I sat down at the kitchen table. Wasn't doing anything, just staring. My wife came down not long after and made us a small breakfast. She was acting as though nothing was off. Like it was any old Saturday morning. She began making small talk about what we should get done today. I couldn't take it anymore. Are we going to talk about last night? She looked up at me and asked, "What would you like to know?" I had a very standoffish tone. "Why did you go on a blind date?" She didn't change her demeanor one bit. "Well, I know that's kinda crazy, seeing someone you've never met before, but I want to date. I have never dated, and I think it sounds fun." It was fun. It was fun. I'm glad I got over my skepticism. I was stunned. There it was. She was auditioning my replacement. "So that's it? You're going to be going on blind dates? I have no say in this?" She softened a little. "Hun, does that bother you? I didn't mean to make you worry." "I'm sorry, I don't have to do that. I'll stick to people I know and vet more going forward." "What about you? What are you going to do? You don't have to put yourself out there. You can do whatever. I know there are things you've always wanted to do, just like I've always wanted to date." The fact that it was a blind date is the point. But I didn't say that. I was too out of it just hearing her. This is so easy for her. How? Of course there are things I want to do, but that doesn't mean I want to throw away my marriage to do them. She talked a little bit more after that last comment, but I can't remember any of it. She said some things about changes or dynamics or something. I really can't remember. It was like my brain shut down. My wife is dating, and I'm supposed to do what in the meantime? She is out trying to find her next husband, for some reason doesn't think she should divorce me first, which is just unbelievably selfish, and I'm supposed to scratch items off my bucket list until then. I don't know what I'm going to do. Live, I guess, and look for the next Mrs. Powell. Do I even want another Mrs. Powell? Honestly, my biggest debate at this point is what, if anything, do I tell the kids? Their parents are divorcing, their mother is looking for a new husband. I hope they won't take it too hard. This has been a strange and challenging time. My wife has been dating John Stanton, who operates a power washing business, for the last month. At first, it was just dinner dates. They went on like 4 of those. Then on this past Friday, she told me she wasn't coming home, that she was staying with John overnight. When she got home yesterday around noon, I asked what she did. She looked at me like I was crazy. "I spent the night at John's," she said in a confused tone. "Doing what?" I asked in an accusing tone. She looked around, still feigning confusion. "We had sex. Twice." That was a dagger in the heart, I thought. Guess she found her man. I shook my head and walked away. She followed me and asked if something was wrong. I just said, "No, I know where I stand." She said in a matter-of-fact way, "I'm sorry you're feeling this way. It wasn't the first time. I kind of assumed you knew that. Do you need anything? It is normal to feel the way you are, so if you want to talk, we can." Why would I want to talk about another guy sleeping with my wife? I just told her no and went about my day. This isn't the worst part, though. She just left on another date today, with a different guy, but she literally told me yesterday that she was going back out with John next Friday. I can't make sense of any of this. If she didn't think John was the guy, why sleep with him on Friday and plan another date with him? And I know this guy she went with today. It's flipping Dan Scott. I bought my last 2 vehicles from him. Those will be the last 2, I can tell you that. The most confusing thing is that she keeps treating me like she wants me to be her husband. Actually better, I won't lie. Things may have been a little stale before. I never thought this would happen. We definitely still loved each other. Well, I thought we loved each other. She probably still loves me, but isn't in love with me. It happens. I read about it all the time. Anyway, like I said, it had gotten a little stale. Yeah, we still had sex some and spent time together, but it was really routine. This past month, she has been coming on to me pretty often, like 4 or 5 times a week. I know she is out looking for a new husband and I should cut her off, but you know what? I don't care. The getting is good, and I'm going to get. She also keeps asking me to do stuff with her. So we went to the theater together. She got tickets to a Bills game. I don't get it. She's acting like she was back when we were newlyweds. It's just really odd behavior. If you don't love a guy anymore and want to be with other people, then why put so much effort into the relationship? She has to have some sort of ulterior motive here. I mean, I keep wondering why she won't just end our marriage. My guess is she wants me to, so that I look like the bad guy. Well, I'm not going to do that. Nor am I going to decline these invites and initiations she keeps making. Two can play this game. And I have been playing it. I have been doing all the things I wanted to do. Not since that very first date she went on have I stayed at home and stewed in my own self-pity. I go out with friends. I've hit several bars in town, gone axe throwing. No, I'm not just sitting around waiting while she's out with these other guys. The only thing is, I am getting a little lonely while she's out. I didn't think I would be, but knowing she's out there looking for my replacement hurts, because I'm not looking for her replacement. I don't even really want to replace her. I just feel like I don't have a choice in this matter. She is dating. I guess I should do the same thing, but I have never been on a date in my life. You know, it was 8th grade with Angela. I passed her a note asking if she wanted to go out with me. She looked at me and nodded. We then exchanged phone numbers, which were home phone numbers. Sure, we went out together, but those weren't getting to know you dates. We already knew each other. I wouldn't even know how to act on a date or what's protocol. I've never used a condom before. Do I need one? Oh God, is she using condoms when she's out with John Stanton? Ugh, I can't think about that right now. I'm just not sure about any of this. But I know eventually she is going to drop me whenever she finds the right guy, so the clock is ticking here. I don't want to be left a bitter old man sitting around a one-bedroom apartment waiting to die alone. Guess at some point I am going to have to put myself out there and see what modern women are into.